it's funny. So I actually emailed the Innovonics company. They have the manual for this device, the Model 375. I think it's, I'm pretty sure that, I don't know. Anyway. They have it on their website for download. So their website is pretty good. I'm impressed that they have that kind of support. And then I was working with the circuit board, looking at the circuits. The circuit boards have numbers on it. The schematic have numbers on the circuits. They didn't match up. I thought maybe there was a revision issue I was dealing with. So I emailed them. And then the owner of the company, I can't remember his name, he emailed me directly back talking about this unit, nostalgic about it, telling me about, you know, the design revisions and the tricks about it. And I thought it was really fun to, I did some signal tracing to find it. There was this, these are the early 8-pin op amps that just have a single op amp in them. And I put a different one in there. I think I put in like an LM301 when they were like 2824s or something like that. I got it here on the bench if I dig around far enough. But so yeah. Anyway, it's working fine. I wonder if this has the older heads, the original heads from these 50s era tape machines. I think they're more like electromagnet because they didn't have the rare earth tape heads that they came out for the higher magnetic tape, whereas the earlier stuff, I guess, was a different formulation. Well, then this unit, when it was installed, it was done professionally because inside there are two sets of bias coil configurations. And one of them you can set up for the old style. There's like a series of capacitors and resistors. One's for the old style of tape heads, and one's for the new style of tape heads. And this is, in fact, as I look inside the box, it's set up for the old style tape heads. So that was pretty neat. So it's all authentic. And then it was used for audio spot editing, because on the front of it, somebody drilled into the front panel, and then they put one of those plastic sticky labels saying edit, and you push this red button, and then the motors disengage and become free spinning, so you can just move the tape across the head until you find the spot you want to splice. So that's a pretty neat feature. But, so yeah, it's a piece of history, and it was, you know, this was not a shelf queen. This was like used every day to make spot ads here in Cincinnati band. And I got some on the shelf here. I used to have a store called Swollen, and they sold electronics, and they sold, it was kind of like a Sears, but they sold a lot of Pacific Rim electronic stuff, and I guess they sold some car parts, patio furniture, you know, all the houseware stuff you're going to need to be happy. And so they had some really good spots. And they had a voiceover. There's this one voice talent here in Cincinnati. I've heard his voice growing up all the time. And I haven't heard him in a long time. But back in the 80s, he was all over the airwaves. He'd come out and tell you the latest sales going on. And I've got some of those on reel here on the shelf. But all the splices are drying out, so I try and play it, and then the tape breaks every time there's a new cut. I don't know if anybody cares about these spots, you know? I guess I could just throw them on YouTube or something if I really wanted to splice all these tapes together. And then maybe some local Cincinnati folk would recognize it. So then I'd probably get maybe about 50 views for all that work. So then I would probably monetize maybe $5. I don't know. I do feel like part of it, my conscience is motivated. Like maybe there's a historical, you know, value to trying to do something like that. And I guess that's where I am on my motivation. So I don't know. If you've ever heard of Swallens, I seriously doubt you've ever heard of Swallens. You probably have your own local local fare over there in the Chesapeake area of grocery stores, local grocery stores. So that's one thing. So yeah, I've got I got the 300 I've spent a lot of time talking about. I've got a 440B I've got working. I've got something called an AG 440, or no, okay, it's an AG 300 and it's a 4-track. It's unusual that it's AG because that was our first go at transistors. So it's just as big as the tube units. And then I've got the 300 half-track tube unit with the 300 transport, the big transport. And then I've got, and then I've got, it's still in the blanks. I've got a mono 351 AG. I have a Viking, and it sounded really fun. Lots of loud booms. And that is in the old, there used to be a magazine called Audio or Stereo, I think it was called Audio. And it went from the 50s to the 60s, and they're hardbound in some of the libraries. If you go to the city library, you can pull out 50s and 60s magazines that are hardbound. And you flip through there, and this 3M Studio 96 is advertised in there. I bet if you Google it, you can look at it. Kind of an unusual unit. It's in a field case. And it worked last time I plugged it in. So what else have I got? I've got other stuff too. I don't have any pictures of my stuff though, because it's kind of all stacked on top of each other. So if I get it nice and neat, my radio timed me out. I can't believe it did that. N8MBS.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had another software interruption there. N8MBS. And inventory nights for W4AWM. Well, the band's taking a little bit of a turn here. I notice I'm down into one of the New England SDR sites that I usually pretty strapping on. And I'm not getting anything much on one that's in the Gulf Coast area, which ordinarily represents that lobe of my antenna. So the band's kind of going soft on us here, and sure have enjoyed the QSO. I sent you a contact for the QRZ logbook. It looks like you may already have confirmed it as we were talking. So thanks for that, and we'll be able to spend some more time on another occasion. I didn't get your thoughts on the RDAT machine that I had described to you. Maybe that's beyond your inventory. But I know I had a good time with those. It had a proprietary battery. I had two different brands of them. One of them was the Sony, which was okay. And I also had the Technics, the SV255. But it had a proprietary battery. And it was of an old chemistry, the old gel cell kind. So they would sulfate on you after a certain number of charges, and then they wound up going obsolete and having to turn DC. It was long past its days as a portable machine, just anyway. But I had enough archival stock that I wanted to keep some kind of machine, so I picked up one of the Technics DAT machines, and I've got it in the rack, and it works fine. And by the way, for your not WWW, but your local radio personality, I would recommend going to archive.org. Archive.org is kind of the Wikipedia of audio-visual material. They will take any of the material that you have and promise to archive it forever without commercial interruption. And that might be the place to act as a repository for your open-world archival stock there, because it very well would show up in somebody's search, and they would be grateful that you preserved it for posterity. Archive.org. So I hear stations tuning up a little bit above us here at the sea. Let me kick it back to you, make sure the signal's okay, Charlie, then we probably ought to sign. N8MBS, been my pleasure. W4AWM. My old friend John in there, let me pick him up. W4AWM, we're on 7281. John's just south of D.C. and I haven't talked to him in many years. Let's bring him in and say hello. John, we're talking with Charlie out in Ohio, N8MBS, who lives within sight of the WLW Blau Knox Tower. So introduce yourself and how the heck you been? W4AWM, WA3VJB with the group. Nice to hear you.
Okay, platform WA3VJB in the group. W4AWM on a believe it or not, TR7A. So, I don't know. This is a Drake TR7A, and it says I'm on AM. I don't know. Over.
72, 78 upper sideband by the time I got you tuned in. And I'm copying you. It's fine. It's not a problem. But I'm kind of surprised Drake didn't offer a wholesome AM signal. I seem to remember that they had a controlled carrier kind of protocol on there that bounced the carrier up and down with modulation. But I thought it was complete, you know, both sides of center. But anyway, I got you tuned in. And let me get a quick report on how you're doing. Happy birthday a couple of times there from our Facebook posts. And I hope you said happy birthday to Ginny Vaccaro, who was celebrating just the other day. Charlie, if you'll indulge us for a minute, John's an old retired ABC tech, the camera guy, audio guy from many years past. I think it's been probably 20 years since you've retired, John, haven't you? W4AWM, WA3VJB with the group.
WA3VJB in the group.
Oh, you messed with me. I had it tuned in on 78, and then
you came back on 81, so hit me again with your transmission there. Go ahead, John.
Okay,
I'm on 7281 now on the Strike TR7A, and we're running it in the AM position.
I don't have an AM rig here ready to go on the air, although I do have a Viking 2 and an Apache, but they haven't been used in quite a while. Over.
Well, that's all right. I know you've got a whole house full of gear, and we'll have to get you back on wholesome AM here for the wintertime days. Well, let me see if Charlie's copying you out there. I don't know how long you've been listening, but Charlie has also got a house full of gear, more toward the studio and recording end of things. We were just talking about his old Ampex 300 with the Innovonics electronics, and I was reminiscing about, what was it, the PT6 that had the octal tube electronics in the thing. And Charlie, I wanted to comment that the two different bias circuits, I thought perhaps that was for two different speeds of operating. You know, then I remember that it wasn't the bias, it was the equalization curve that they changed when certain machines would offer more than one speed. I've got an Otari here, the 5050 MX, or MX 5050, I forget what the nomenclature is. Much newer machine, and it actually changes the equalization setting with speed. So that's what I thought of when you said the two different bias circuits. Anyway, if your software has rebooted, Charlie, introduce yourself to John there, W4 Alpha Whiskey Mike, and make a transmission. N8MBS Metro Broadcasting System and the group WA3VJB.
Hello, this is N8MBS, W4 Alpha Whiskey Mike, I presume. This is November 8 Mike Bravo Sierra in Lebanon, Ohio, within eyesight of the Blau Knox WLW Tower, which I actually visit personally every day. Well, not personally, but I see it every day. So yeah.
Alright, kick off again.
Yeah, he's been getting some RF where it shouldn't be, and I think his computer doesn't like it, so it knocks him off the air.
Yeah.
He had a clip lead in there earlier, John, and it cleaned it up so his family could watch YouTube. And now it's off the air because the clip lead's not in the right way.
Well, I had a guy come in here the other day to work on my furnace, and he put a clip lead in it, and it kept getting hotter and hotter. And I finally called him, and he came back and he removed the clip lead, and then temperature got to where it should be, over.
Oh man, that's not good. I know they've clip leaded our control circuit when they need the furnace to run, but that seemed to be a low voltage circuit, like, you know, 24 volt AC circuit, and they were just clicking a relay. So I don't know what they bypassed with that clip lead, John. Man, you got to be careful not to burn the house down.
Well, I don't know what happened, but finally I just cut the thing off. I cut the AC to the furnace off, because it kept getting hotter and hotter, and I couldn't figure it out, over.
Yeah, man. That's the best way to do it. Start pulling wires. So were you able to send Ginny a message? And I wonder how long indeed it has been since you retired from ABC. I'm thinking it's close to 20 years at this point.
Well, it's been at least 20 years. I don't know exactly, but I did send Ginny a birthday card, and then I sent her a happy birthday thing on the computer, but she did not respond, over.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll message her as well, and I'm making a recording here. I will post this recording to your page, and we can tag Ginny in it if you wanted to tell her anything personally there. Go ahead.
Well, just say hi, Ginny, and happy birthday, and would appreciate your getting back to me and let me know that you got my card, over.
Okay, that's said and done now. I will post this to your page like I did that Gaithersburg video from so long ago. I haven't talked to you on the air since I posted that. That was a real relic, a time capsule, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know, and I'd like to be able to send that to somebody if you would send me a link so I could send it out. I have not been able to send it out, over.
Well, sure. I have it somewhere that I can upload it to YouTube and just give you the YouTube link. I guess I uploaded it on the Facebook video infrastructure. So, yeah, you can't necessarily give a link to somebody unless they're on Facebook and so on. So, sure. Yeah, I'll reload that, John, and you can send it around. It'd be my pleasure.
Okay, well, I'd certainly appreciate it, because I've tried to send it out a couple of times and failed on it. But it's been a good pleasure talking to you. I don't want to hold it here because you and Charlie were having a good QSO, over.
Oh, well, that's kind of the way it is on AM, as distinguished from other modes on HF. We tend to settle in and make what are called old buzzard transmissions. You know, where you lock the key down and you develop a set of thoughts and you reply to the other guy, and it can take pretty much the 10-minute transmission. If you were listening close to the top of the hour at 10, I was going to use my atomic clock to back time it right to 10 o'clock, you know, like hitting the network queue. But I ran out of things to say, so I ran out at like 58, and I had to give it to Charlie to do it. Let's see if he's back in here. And yeah, Charlie, I'm going to head toward the door here. I think tomorrow's going to be our nice day. First time in 12 days that we're going to see the sun. N8MBS Mutual Broadcasting System. And W4AWM, WA3VJB. Go ahead, Charlie, if you're in there.
Hello. Yeah, my computer is not cooperating. I had to plug in the power supply, and then it kept crashing every time I transmit. So, we got.
We got you, Charlie, but there's a breaker station in there. Go ahead, breaker.
Thank you. The call is Kilo Bravo 8 Victor Golf X-Ray. Never ran this radio on AM before. Heard you guys out there. Thought I'd jump out and see how I tuned her up. Go ahead.
This is W4AWM for IP. You're about 5'4", over.
Ohio, I've got you about a 5'7".
Okay, well, thank you very much. This is W4AWM, and if you did not hear We're running a Drake TR7 Alpha, over.
Yeah, QSL, I've been loose traveling for a couple minutes here. The Drake sounds pretty alright. I'm running a Kenwood radio, and I know they have a reputation for not being strong on AM, so figured we'd at least give her a try.
This is W4AWM. Yeah, we're copying. You're solid, but you're weak, over.
Okay, roger that. Thank you for the report. I don't know if there's much I can do with it. I've tuned it up for Kenwood's instructions on AM, and, well, it is what it is, Roger.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, what's the name there? Okay, John. Yeah, what's the name there? The Kenwood actually sounds pretty good. I've been making a recording of this fairly rare contact with my old friend John, and I'd be glad to email you the link to it. You can hear for yourself how the Kenwood sounds. Go ahead.
Oh, I would absolutely love that. And you're W4AWM, correct? I've got to know, what are you running for a station? Whatever you've got going on over there, it sounds absolutely fantastic. It's strong, it's clean, it's got good modulation. It's really incredible station on AM.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I want to get a little more particulars here, make sure I've got your calls correctly. Kilo Bravo 8 Victoria Golf X-Ray. I heard that you're in Ohio, which is probably not too far from Charlie's place, who's having computer trouble right now. But what's the name there, and which model Kenwood?
The name is here, Tango Echo Victor Echo, and it's a TS2000, and I am running an aftermarket assessment.
Okay, yeah, the TS2000 has got a pretty good reputation. There are some Kenwoods that sound better than others. Yours sounds quite natural, I think, as John had pointed out. It sounds good. It just needs a little more signal, that's all. Sometimes when you call upon these modern transceivers to produce both sidebands and a carrier, they wind up limiting their ability to produce a fully modulated AM carrier. I think you've got yours set up as best as it can be, and most of it is just signal deficit rather than an audio mismatch. So a hat tip to you for having read the directions successfully to get a fairly decent audio out of the thing. I'm running a lot of old broadcast gear. John's been listening for a while. I've got stuff that ranges from a 1946 Collins 300G that came from a radio station outside of Washington, D.C. And I guess the newest piece I've got is a Super Senior, which is a 1/4 kilowatt solid-state MOSFET-based transmitter that's still in production by a guy called Index Labs, K7DYY, Delta Yankee Yankee. That's what you're hearing tonight, with external audio that includes an RCA mixing console and Sennheiser 421 and that kind of stuff, Steve. So thank you for the compliment. It's nice to know it's making the trip. I guess the Kenwood's got a decent receive pass band that you can actually hear it. In some cases, I'll encounter somebody who's on AM for the first time like yourself, and they don't open up the receiver enough to really enjoy the wholesome AM experience. John's on a TR7A, which I think has a fairly decent receive pass band, so he can hear it. And then the guy who was in here with computer trouble is Charlie, N8MBS, who's on a Flex 3000, which is known for years for good audio on both transmit and receive. So top of 40 meters, Steve, is where the cool kids hang out, the guys on AM. I'm on during the daytime as well if you've got any daytime opportunities. Nighttime's a little more unusual, but the band seemed to have some life in it. I'm glad to roll out the welcome mat for you and have you come into the QSO. Is your email on QRZ.com? If not, send one to mycallletters@yahoo.com, and I will send you the YouTube link. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, very good, and thank you for the warm welcome. I have screwed around with AM a little bit, but man, that was so many years ago and on 11 meters. It's not at all the same. I've never used this one on AM before, and we are limited to power, so thank you for the compliment on matching the audio. We did our best, but the radio is limited to 25 watts, and I think it showed me about a 55-watt peak for modulation. I do have an amplifier over here that it would probably give me about a 200-watt carrier or a 600 or 700-watt peak. but I ran it very, very hard today on 10 meters for hours and hours and hours on end, and I'd like to just give her a little bit of a break. And I did hear Charlie very, very well when he was in there, but unfortunately, like you said, he's having some problems in it, and he was cutting right out. But when he was in there, he was over S9 and a good robust audio, so no complaints over here. And I will do that. I'm going to fire you off an email tonight, and I would absolutely love to hear. There's no better audio report on Earth than a recording at another station. You know, it's something very, very fantastic about it. But gentlemen, I have taken up enough of your time, and I didn't want to interrupt the QSO too much, but I wanted to jump out and say hello to y'all. Y'all sound fantastic, and see what this old radio wants to do. But thanks for letting me in. I'm going to say thank you to both of you gentlemen, W4AWM and W8VGX. Thank you very much for letting me in and holding the key station for a little bit. This is KG8VGX, and I'm going to stay with you guys and listen out for a bit. Thank you, and 7-3.
All right, Steve. Well, once again, welcome. Roll out the red carpet for you to check in again sometime now that you've validated the radio. It certainly sounds fine on transmit, 25 watts. Will or won't work if the band is cooperating. It's working tonight, and I think you'll be pleased with this recording when it comes in. KG8VGX. That's what I wrote, and I'll check that. I'm going to pass it over to John there. John, then you kick it back to Charlie. W4AWM to take it, W83VJB. We'll see you later, Steve.
Okay, this is W4AWM. I'm trying to get my linear going here, but it's not working too well. Golly. I really don't know what's going on anymore. We're 87 years old here now, Paul, and I'm kind of losing my sharpness where I used to be over.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. 87 doesn't seem that old in today's day and age, especially with the kind of modern medicine that we've got. But if it's been more than 20 years since you retired from ABC, that means it's been more than 20 years since I saw you at a Hamfest somewhere. Because I think Gaithersburg, that video I've got of you, I think that's 1996, so that's pretty near 30 years old. Man, so time goes on, and I'm just delighted that you found me here at the top of 40 meters, John. So it's been wonderful, and I'll send you this link as well. And I know Steve's going to get a kick out of hearing how the TS2000 is doing. You'll also be able to see in this video, John, how it's upper sideband and carrier. I'll do a little research to refresh my memory on the TR7A's protocols on AM. But I was convinced that had both sidebands and a controlled carrier, kind of a variable carrier protocol that changed with modulation levels. Anyway, it's fine. It sounds good, and you'll hear in the recording. It sounds fine. It's stations like Charlie with a clip lead who have great audio intermittently. And Charlie, why don't you take it now that I've made fun of you? N8MBS and the group. I'm going to get out of here after yours, WA3VJB.
7-3s, everybody. I just wanted to try and make this transmission while it's still working. I'm going to have to go through my whole thing and see what I can do. Thanks. Nice meeting everybody. Nice to meet you, Paul. I'm going to log Whiskey 4 Alpha Whiskey Mike, and 7-3s, everybody. N8MBS.
All right, Charlie. Yeah, my pleasure. Think of us here on AM the next time you look at the WLW tower, man. And please come back. Same invitation to Steve, and then John, my old friend from years back. Wow, it's been a good night on the radio. And we'll talk more about scented candles, the aroma from Yankee Candle Company named Hot Dust on Tubes. We're coming into winter season. Got to get some of those candles on the mantle in the house, you know. N8MBS, Mutual Broadcasting System. Having signed W4AWM, John, my pleasure. Congratulations on making it to 87. And Steve there on the Kenwood, KB8. Boy, I got to look that up. I can't read my handwriting. I think it's Kilo Bravo 8, Victor Golf X-Ray. Yeah, let me put a little tail on what could be a U. And I'll look you up pronto here. Can't be but so many variations of my error. Steve, take care. Everybody, good night from Annapolis, the Chesapeake Bay region of Maryland. This is radio station WA3VJB. Out of here for now.
Hey, Paul, you copy any better now?
Yeah, the amp makes a big difference, John.
Yeah, turned it on. Don't know if I've got it tuned up right, but it seems to be working.
Yeah, it does. And I'm noticing a little lower sideband now, too. Maybe it was just somewhat unbalanced or whatever, because you're sounding better on an AM envelope. I was switching to upper sideband and zero beat your carrier before, just to get the right amount of injection. Go ahead.
Okay, well, this Drake is saying 7281, so I really don't know where I'm at. Running over here.
No, you're on it. Yeah, you're zero beat. I'm on 81 exactly, and you zero beat to me, so that's good.
Okay, very good. Well, I don't know if this rig is working well or not, because I'm not sure how to tune it up. But I hear various things happening, and I probably won't run the amp too much, because it gets into the neighbor's computer audio over.
Well, that's what happened to Charlie. Somebody came into the room on Charlie from his family and said, hey, here we are trying to watch YouTube videos, and you're getting into the computer, I guess. So he found a clip lead somewhere and took care of that, and then wound up redirecting the errant RF into his own computer. So it's been a anomaly night, John. Yeah, don't stress the amp. I wish you had a little. I wish I had a little more time to play on the radio. But I'm going to get out of here because I got a frog in my throat. I want to get up and enjoy the day tomorrow when the sun comes out. W4AWM, W8VGX.
W8VGX in the group W4AWM. Very good. Very good. It's been a good 20 years. I think it was 1999 when I retired from ABC, over.
Oh, there you go. Well, hopefully the life of leisure has agreed with you.
Well, I'm not doing too much now because I'm really very dizzy, and I've had a few strokes here, and they left me really dizzy, over.
Man, are you still driving though?
Oh yeah, I'm still able to drive, but with caution, over.
Okay, so I mean you could still make the Hamfest circuit if you wanted to.
Well, I just go to the local ones. I don't go to any of the small ones anymore. I go to the big ones like Winterfest and all, and the one down in Richmond is no more, temporarily, over.
The Frost Fest, they don't have that anymore?
They didn't have it this year. I don't know what the problem is. I think they've lost some of their dealings with the raceway down there. Something just arced over here, so I'm gonna go back to barefoot, over.
Yeah, let me go. I don't want you to fry your amp either. You know, this AM with the carrier, it's probably excessive to your duty cycle on that amp. Yeah, sorry to hear about Frostfest. I never did make it to that one. It's been happening, though. We were just remarking about how the Gaithersburg Hamfest, where you and I first met, well, I met you on the job, but when we met up at the Hamfest, it was Gaithersburg that then moved out to the Howard County Fairgrounds. And then that disappeared, and we had to go up to Timonium, north of Baltimore. And then there's one in New England called Nearfest, which used to be the old Deerfield. It lost its site at the Deerfield Agricultural Center, and now they've moved, and I think this coming weekend, if it didn't happen this past weekend, it's coming up on Deerfield at a new location. So it's all over, man. I've got all the gear I want. I don't have to go to the Hamfest circuit. So you're probably in the same position based on some of the pictures I've seen. You got that house full of gear. So let me look for you again, John, and will you check in up here at the top of 40 from time to time?
No, it's the first time I've been up here. Actually, I'm looking for some of the stations down in Asheville, North Carolina, where I grew up, over.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know you were from there. Yeah, I was looking for W4GUZ. You know, Brandon lives north and east of Asheville, and I use his Kiwi SDR internet receiver, and it's down. So I'm a little concerned that either he's been knocked off the air, you know, by internet interruption, or he may have some greater calamity there, because he's not that far northeast of Asheville. Anyway, let me catch you later, John, and I hope you'll check in up here again was my question. I'm on here sometimes in the evenings, but if you got any time during the day, you ought to look around up here as well. Go ahead.
Okay, well, aren't you on the air on CNN during the day?
No, man, I retired a year ago myself. You used to find me there, but no, I retired a year ago myself, so now I play radio here.
There you go, there you go. Well, I'm really surprised that we're able to communicate as close as we are, because usually I don't really work into the Eastern Shore area very well. Over.
Oh, you're doing great. I'm also hearing you up in New England on one of the internet receivers there, so you're punching a pretty good hole in the ionosphere that way. That's where this recording's being made, off a receiver in Vermont. Go ahead.
Okay, very fine. Well, we'll look forward to hearing that recording, and I won't hold it here too long. I want to get off of here. And the amp fans have not fired up yet, so I guess it's not getting too hot. Over.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I wouldn't mind fans coming on. I would mind an arc. So really, take care, John. You don't want a repair project that you don't have to. Good night to you. W4AWM, WA3VJB. Been my pleasure.
Okay, Paul, fine. We'll let you run there. And, yeah, I'm not able to repair much anymore. I don't get around too well, and I don't see too well. So, my repair days are pretty well washed up. 73 to you. Been a great pleasure, and we'll have to hook up again sometime soon. WA3VJB, W4AWM.